Welcome to the Jedi Ranger. I'm JohnBurry555, and today I'm continuing my series of MASH retro reviews with Season 4, Episode 20, Some 38 Parallels. So, I just want to begin that I don't quite understand how this title fits this episode, because they use some 38 parallels, plural. So I'm thinking, okay, what's going on in the story that are parallels? And there seems to be that a little bit, but it doesn't quite connect for me. So I should probably explain. So there's essentially three main plots going on in this episode. There is a colonel who keeps on getting his men killed by going to rescue men who were killed on the battlefield. Yeah, and so obviously Hawkeye's not happy about that. There's also a plot that with Nurse Abel, Hawkeye's unable to perform, i.e., they're on a date and he's unable to, Yeah, this is actually probably one of the most explicit they've ever gotten about what goes on with Hawkeye's dates with all the nurses. I mean, this is probably one of the most explicit. They still don't say it, but it seems pretty explicit to me. And then there's another plot where, actually, there are two more plots. There's a patient that Radar has taken interest in because he spotted something and that allowed BJ to save the patient's life. Of course, the patient then has a later turn for the worse, and that patient is one of that colonel's men, so it kind of comes all circle. And then Frank decides to sell the camp's garbage to the local Koreans, and Colonel Parr's like, whatever. But anyhow, so this all does eventually come together. The colonel himself arrives wounded, minorly so, and wants his men taken care of, but he doesn't seem to care when that one soldier, the one that Ray are taken interest in, ends up dying. Then there's a point where Hawkeye asks basically BJ, wherever the top bid for this lot of garbage is, $5 more. And Hawkeye gets the garbage, which he then drops on the colonel. And then after that, he's able to go on that date, and everything is fine. So, what I think they're trying to say in this episode is by Hawkeye essentially letting go and not being in the driver's seat about this one issue, he's able to apply that to the same thing with his date as well. Maybe. I feel like they weren't necessarily explicit enough in terms of what that connection is, which I can understand why they're doing, given what they're implying with how going on with Hawkeye's date and the troubles he's having there. So and this aired on television, they're not going to be super explicit, even though they could be kind of explicit at times in the first three seasons. And actually, I do feel like this episode might have been a script that was at one time more considered or written for one of the earlier seasons 1 through 3, where this kind of stuff was a little more common, maybe. It's on the back burner, maybe not even a script, and they find a script out here. I don't know. I've heard rumors that has happened with some other episodes, so it's not impossible. It's still a fun episode, and honestly, I kind of like the comeuppance that the colonel gets. It's not going to stop the wounded, unlike some of Hawkeye's other attempts, and there's actually one episode that more explicitly states that, yeah, Hawkeye can stop that one colonel, but that's not going to stop the wounded coming. But this is more of a Hawkeye being able to be like, this colonel is driving me nuts, I'm going to pay him out, and does him in a pretty simple way, disgusting way, mind you. Garbage dropped on you from a helicopter is not that fun, I would imagine, but hey, it gave Hawkeye maybe a sense of control in that situation, which is probably what he ultimately needed in this episode. Also, I love Colonel Parr's response to the trash being dropped. I didn't see it, but I loved it, or something similar. He might have said he liked it or something, but basically he's like, I didn't see anything, but I liked what I saw, even though I didn't see it. Which, honestly, is why I prefer Colonel Parr as the CEO compared to Henry. Henry was a pushover all the time, but Colonel Parr, he wasn't always a pushover, but he also knew when it's time to look away and not report the behavior of his officers and enlisted. There's actually a scene where Colonel Parr reminds Frank that the enlisted have feelings too, and Frank openly admits that he forgets. Yeah, that happens. Honestly, that was actually quite mature on Frank, that he actually admitted to some of his flaws in this episode. Doesn't help him improve as a character, but it is amazingly mature of him. something I would not normally expect of Frank. But that's ultimately what I have to say about this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode in the comment section down below. And I hope to see you next week for my review of the Novocaine Mutiny. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.